Hi, everybody. I'm Austin Eartham. Welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast. I'm here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing my stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to episode number 106. Happy to be with you guys. Again, time managing, kind of a weird place in time right now. I'm sorry if my dog barks downstairs. He seems to be full of energy today, but a really good episode going out to you guys today. Hopefully get some edits on YouTube and Instagram and show you guys a little bit kind of more hit the highlights is my goal. Those of you who know me know that I suck at technology, so we're working on the technology component to make it look a little more pretty, and as well as to bring you a better episode. I apologize for last week's episode. It was not very good. Had a lot of good stuff wrote on paper, did not portray it very well. Got interrupted halfway through. Again, trying to manage my time as efficiently as I can. I write stuff down during the week now to do it, and when I find a time, I just kind of shoot the episode out. So let me know what I can do better and how to make it worthwhile for your guys' listening time for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. No news. Still working on a couple things in the works. We'll see next week. I might have some news from a psychology standpoint. Other than that, continue to trying to reach my goals and spend time trying to better myself. Again, I thought January, February would be super busy. Learning that that's maybe my quiet time of the year after spring break, ready to ramp things up and get going. Weather's been nice. Weather's going to be nicer in the spring, obviously. So looking forward to pulling that up and getting to work and making some money and helping change some lives as well as change my own. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But the quote I heard this week that I thought was really good is by John Gordon. It said it's called a leap of faith, not a leap of fear for a reason. Say it one more time. It's called a leap of faith, not a leap of fear for a reason. Right? When we take a leap of faith, we're doing something that we are unsure about, and we hope that it goes right. We feel like it's the right decision for us, so we jump into that pond, right? We decide to take that next step, and ultimately, whatever happens, we have to live with that decision. But I think more times than not, we realize that that was a better decision, and that we took a chance on something that was good. And if it wasn't so-called good, it was actually a good learning experience for us to have, and that we move forward having that life experience that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So no matter how you look at it, the book is by John. We're reading a book for our coaches for football, and that was in the book, and there's a lot more to come on that book. But to be a great leader, you got to have some things happen to you that maybe don't go your way. And no matter what, optimism will always win. Another good quote I tweeted this week was that positivity doesn't just help you, it helps everyone around you. So we want to continue to be positive, have optimism, because life really is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond. Where there's a will, there's a way. Had to shift a couple of things around in my week this week due to some cancellations and due to some other circumstances. And it seems like it's not even it's in the future. It's coming up, and it seems like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do this. How am I gonna fit this in? How am I gonna pay for that? What am I gonna do here? All that kind of stuff always happens, right? And I was listening to a podcast with NASA, and this astronaut, he was blind in both of his eyes. He couldn't see going out into space, and he's literally on his first ever I don't know if it's called a space mission, space deployment. And he's outside circulating. He's on the International Space Station circulating the globe, and basically something gets caught in his eye, and it's like debris inside of his helmet, and he goes blind. And then you want to cry in space, but you're not able to. So the tear that kind of just bubbles up, and then it flowed to the next eye. So he's blind. He's out there holding on to the space shuttle, literally blind in space, and people are talking to him in his headset. Do you need help? Do you need help? And he's thinking that I've prepared my whole life for this. This has happened, that has happened, and now we're at this point, right? He was a military pilot and a couple other things that prepared him for this, and they trained for this. They even had a name for it if it was to happen in real life. It did, and he came on the intercom, talked people through it, and he said it's just solving one problem after another. That's what engineers do. That's what space astronauts do. They talk about it, and I think it's The Martian, the movie. He talks about how basically it's just to stay alive on Mars, it was solving one problem after another problem after another problem. And really that's what life is. And if you can look at that as a problem, as an opportunity instead of a burden, you're much more likely to find success. And going back to last week's episode, more likely to have happiness, to lead to success, and enjoy the process. Because ultimately, life is about the lifelong learning process and something we want to enjoy and inspire others by our own work, and live something that's lasting, build a purpose, build a foundation from that purpose, in order to improve our well-being and the others around us as well. But it's really hard to help others' well-being if you truly don't have your own well-being intact. That being said, I thought that was a really good quote. He also talks about how sometimes it's great to be like a goldfish. It's great to be a goldfish, and you want to be a goldfish to forget what happened, right? So it's good to be naive sometimes, but it's also good to be a shark. You want to go out and you want to go get your food, right? Goldfish has to be fed. Sometimes you have to be the shark and know what you want and take that leap and go get it. If it doesn't work out, okay, you might have got bitten there, but can you come up again? Can you be the shark the next time? I should have brought that up earlier. That was a bad example there. But that's why we're working on this, right? Anyways, moving on. Where I saw God this week, again, in the John Gordon book, he talks about purpose, right? And how he gives some examples, like Pat Summitt took 13 years to win a national championship with Tennessee in the women's basketball program. John Wooden took a number of years. Peyton Manning didn't win his first Super Bowl until 9 years later. And he's one of the greatest of all time, right? People don't always have success right at the bat. We always talk about Patrick Mahomes and how great he is. We talk about Brock Purdy. He's been in the NFC Championship game 2 out of 2 years now in the Super Bowl this past week. There's a lot of people who think that is success, right? But ultimately, you got to think Patrick Mahomes transferred schools. Brock Purdy only had a couple offers out of high school, went to Iowa State, wanted to build that program, was the last pick in the draft. Everybody has adversity, and success doesn't happen overnight, right? Everybody only sees what happens on game day, but they don't see the trials that happens. John Gordon talks about in his positivity book for leadership how he had literally 10, 15 rejections from every publisher he could think of. And it took him 2-3 years just to write one book. And he was about to give up and decided that, hey, he saw something in a newspaper or something like that, or another publisher in a book. He's like, oh, I haven't talked to them yet. So he talks to him, helps change it, and it's one of the best New York Times bestsellers. Right, so you never know when that success is going to hurt, but if you stay the path, you do the right things, you do the right things over and over again, you have that grit, that's what the chapter is all about, you will eventually find success. That might be 1 year, that might be 10 years, it might be your whole life, and right before you die, you have success. Okay, so-called the success of the outcome. Right, but success happens along the process because you're doing the right things, and I think that's the important part to take from it, is that if you're doing something on what you believe is your purpose, success will come to you. And that's what I want to get at where I saw God, because I believe your purpose somewhat comes from God. You reflecting and then you acting on it, and God will give you those opportunities, and you just need to snatch them up. Again, be that shark. Be hungry for those opportunities. Learn from them, make the most of them, and then see what's next. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about reflection now. Moving on here. So in general, I've got some psychology stuff that I learned from the book. I'm just going to shoot it at you here. So we always talk about culture in life. And one thing I want to hit on culture is that we have to continually reinforce it, right? One thing is the Steelers. Steelers are known to be tough and gritty and run the ball and play in bad weather, all these kind of things. And now they're kind of losing that so-called identity. And we've talked a lot about identity. And I think if you reinforce that culture, you have somebody continuously pass that down, you're always going to have it. And that could be a daily thing, that could be a weekly thing, that could be a yearly thing. But it's got to be reinforced in order to keep going. Another thing to think about just mentally is a lot of people struggle kind of 2/3, 70% way through whatever the system is. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've been going for a long time. And the example he uses in the book is the 20th mile of a marathon, right? 1 through 13 are pretty easy. They train those. Then 13 through 18 is like, all right, I got it. And then you hit that 19th, 20th mile, and it's like, oh, I've gone 20 miles. I still have 6.2 to go. And it's kind of there's no light at the end of the tunnel. That's when you got to push through it and have self-awareness, get through that time, and then it's on the backstretch, hey, I can finish this workout, and you start to feel good about it, right? So in your head, you got to be thinking, how do I get over this hump? And you got to train to get over that hump so that when it happens in real life, again, like the astronaut story, That way you're ready to go on it. We talked about seeking opportunity and not thinking as a failure. Shark and the goldfish. Oh, the last thing I would say, kind of with the astronaut story as well, and the one I just gave, is that awareness leads to preparation. Okay, if you can be aware of something, you can plan for it. You're prepping, and then all you got to do is execute it in real life, and it's a lot easier to execute something if you have a plan. For example, this podcast I'm much more prepared for than I was last week. So learn from those mistakes and get better. And the last thing, kind of with confidence, is where this one came from, and the power of positivity. Right? If we are positive, we talked about momentum, right? We think momentum's happening. We don't think momentum's happening. If we can recognize it, we prepare for it. Now we look at it as an opportunity. Okay, how do I get out of this? I can swing it back to my way. Another thing that's kind of in your head, along with confidence and momentum, is power. It's a state of mind. Do you think that you are good enough? Do you think that you are able? Do you think you are capable? Are you good enough to lead this person? Are you good enough to lead this team? Are you good enough to have this sales pitch? Are you good enough to do well in this test, whatever doing well is for you? Right? And then are you aware of it? Do you prepare for it? Do you feel like it's going to happen? And then go out and execute. How you feel is a state of mind. You can decide that. I mean, I'm talking mentally, not physically. You get to decide what's going on, what happens next. You get to decide your reaction. So that's something I thought was super, super interesting. The other thing I want to talk about, kind of with positivity and what else is going on in terms of psychology stuff, is communication. Right? So we had a meeting this past week with science, and I think something that's really, really, really interesting to me is it turned a switch on in the meeting. Okay, so we're talking about different classes for next year, and our principal said that here's the worst case scenario. If this doesn't work, here's what could possibly happen. I think that's really good to have that laid out so everybody knows what could happen. What's the worst case? And the other thing I think everybody should know is the opposite of that. Okay, here's my vision with what I want to do, and put that out there. Do you want to help me with this vision, or do you not want to help me with the vision? Because he's like, if you don't want to help me on this vision, I don't want you in this position. I think that's brilliant leadership, because you want people who are going to make it better and take it to the top. Their number one priority should be to make that vision come to life, because it should align with their vision for themselves, which is another thing we talk about. In your business, does every section of your business, your school, your organization know their role? And do they all say the same thing? Our goal is this. At Apple, everybody in each sector says, my goal is this, our goal is this. And they have an overarching kind of, this is what Apple is. And everybody knows that motto. And then individually, are you using your talents to help make that motto come to life and be reality? So if you can share that ultimate goal with people, you can help them to build that clarity. Everybody can reflect on it. You can put people in positions to be successful. Overall, better company, better organization to a T. I think that's super important to have that conversation. It was just really, really interesting to me, and that takes a long time. So the other thing I wrote down this week is to have diligence, right? I really want to work on, specifically, in all honesty, the right side of my body is just sore and doesn't work. I don't know why. So I really want to have diligence and mastery, right? So I want to work on it every day a little bit. How can I make it sure that I do that? I need to write it down. I need to be aware of my weaknesses. I need to put time into it. I need to prepare time so I have it, and I need to execute that time, and over a different amount of time, it will get better. So I think that's super, again, I keep saying this, it's super important to have these attributes, because ultimately success takes time, and these are things you can do daily. You can create a foundation in order to have lasting success. All right, what else we got here? The other thing with mastery is I saw in CrossFit, so everybody knows I have my level 1 now. Greg Glassman said that if you want to have, if you think you've mastered something, that's supposed to take about 10,000 hours. If you think you've mastered something, go back to the fundamentals, go to the basics, and focus on the details more. Pay more attention to the little things, and you'll get a little bit better every time. Again, 1% better every single day. Okay, so now we feel like we have awareness. We're trying to reach that mastery. So now the question is it really your purpose? Is this really what you think your purpose is? So how many people in life really actually love what they do? And I think this is another key to success going back a couple weeks. Do you really love what you do? Like actually love it? Do you sell real estate because you want to make money, or because you love houses and you love helping people to get a good deal? Do you want to be an auctioneer because you want to talk really fast and meet people and sell stuff and make a lot of money? Or do you want to actually change your life and change other people's lives? That's something to seriously think about. Again, 68% of America hates their job. So why do we do it? We talk about, hey, everybody says, how's your day? I say, I'm living the dream. But really, what is your dream? Or if you were realistically living the dream, the American dream, white picket fence, nice house, all that kind of stuff, but is that living the dream? What is your actual dream to be living that is within the realm of possibilities? Don't tell me you're going to be an NBA player when you're 35 years old. Realistically, what is that next step in your life? Again, your motto, your purpose, and do you really love it? Can you love yourself, and then can you put that onto others? Ultimately, your purpose starts with yourself and it finishes with others. That's when you swing the kind of second half of your life. So how do you get there? The diligence, working on the mastery, working on the reflection, having that awareness in order to do the actual work, prepare and execute. All right, what else we got here? Oh, some of those reflection questions I want to talk about. Let me see what I got here. I think there was one more question I had. Oh, living the dream. No, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all my stuff. Nice, I got through it. Look at that. I should just cut the video by then. Anyways, so that's kind of my rant for today. Taylor always calls me the Jordan Peterson. I'm really passionate about this stuff, obviously. I think that if you can align those things in order, as I said, kind of to reflect, have that self-awareness, to understand what your purpose is, and do you love it? Can you do it over again? How can you help yourself to help others? And then ultimately, can you execute it? I think that's really important. And it starts within, and then it portrays outward. Intrinsic motivation going on to extrinsic people. Ultimate goal, worst case scenario, what do you got to do to better yourself? And again, that's the process. That's the key to success. Go to the fundamentals, build a foundation, be the best you can be. All right, I'm gonna stop there. You guys are probably tired of listening to me. A shout out to Vitargo. Hope you get recovered in order to work on that right side of my body. Shout out to Eartham Healthcare Services, my parents, and allowing just in general, teaching me a lot of good things in life and building my foundation. And then shout out to Cole's Kicking. Get this out there, get to a lot of people, and help people. Congrats to everybody who signed on signing day last week as well. Make the world a better place, because ultimately that's why we're here, part of their purpose. So shout out to you guys, and obviously Spotify for podcasters. Literally couldn't put it on without them. So appreciate them as well. And that's all I got. Let me know what you thought of the episode, and I'll catch you guys next week. Love you. Bye.